Hello everyone. In this video we are going to learn about internal carotid artery and circulus arteriosus, that is circle of Willis, right? Again, this is the supply of the brain we are talking about. Okay, now about internal carotid artery. Here you can see the diagram, right? Now, as we have seen in the last video about vertebral artery, the internal carotid again has four parts. It is divided into four parts. You can see here the cervical part, petrous part, cavernous part and the cerebral part. Okay, so we will see the course of the artery. Each internal carotid artery, it enters the cranial cavity after traversing the carotid canal and superior aspect of the foramen lacerum, right? You have already studied the basalis part of the skull, right? So you know about the foramen lacerum. It then courses through the cavernous sinus, right? Cavernous sinus, and pierces the dural roof of the sinus and ends immediately lateral to the optic chiasma and inferior to the anterior perforated substance, and divides into two important branches, that is middle and anterior cerebral arteries, right? We will see the branches in the slide. You can see here, you can see this is the middle cerebral artery that is going, and this is the anterior cerebral artery. Okay, these are the two terminal branches of the internal carotid artery. Now next we will see the branches of the internal carotid artery. First branch is the posterior communicating artery. Here you can see this is the posterior communicating artery. Posterior communicating artery passes posteriorly across the crus cerebri to join the posterior cerebral artery and helps to complete the arterial circle, right? This posterior communicating artery, it is helping in forming the circle of Willis. It gives branches to the crus cerebri, optic tract, hypophysis and hypothalamus. Next is the anterior choroidal artery. Next here you can see is the anterior choroidal artery. It passes posterolaterally, supplies crus cerebri and turns laterally to the medial aspect of the temporal lobe to supply choroid plexus of the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle, right? This we have also talked about the anterior choroidal in the lateral ventricle. Next is the anterior cerebral artery. For anterior cerebral artery, here you can see the anterior cerebral artery, it is going like this here. For this we will see the diagram that is already given in your book. It explains much better. Here. Okay. Now in this diagram you can see the course of the anterior cerebral. It is the terminal branch of the internal carotid and it runs above the optic nerve to follow the curve of the corpus callosum, right? This is the corpus callosum and it is forming the curve around the corpus callosum. Close to its origin, this artery is joined by the anterior communicating artery, right? Where it originates, it is again joined here by the anterior communicating artery. Deep branches of the anterior cerebral supply the part of internal capsule and basal nuclei. Cortical branches supply the medial surface of the hemisphere by giving orbital, frontal and parietal branches. Okay, so this is about the anterior cerebral artery. Next is the middle cerebral artery. Okay, now here you can see the middle cerebral artery. See this diagram, right? In this diagram you can see the middle cerebral artery is shown like this, right? Now this middle cerebral is the larger terminal branch of the internal carotid as compared to anterior cerebral, that lies in line with the internal carotid artery itself. It runs laterally in the stem of the lateral sulcus. Okay, it is running in the stem of the lateral sulcus and it gives off deep or the perforating branches which supply the anterior limb of the internal capsule and the part of the basal nuclei. Here you can see, right, this is supplying the internal capsule and the basal nuclei, right. So these are known as the perforating branches or the deep branches of the middle cerebral artery. The artery then passes out to the lateral surface of the hemisphere at the insula of the lateral sulcus, and it ends by giving the cortical branches, that is temporal, frontal and parietal. Okay. Now again in this diagram, if you observe, you can see it is giving frontal branches, right, it is giving temporal branches, here you can see, and the parietal branches, right. So these are the branches of the middle, cortical branches of the middle cerebral artery. Okay, so that is all about the internal carotid artery and its branches. Next we will see is the circulus arteriosus or the circle of Willis. It's a very important topic. Let us see the diagram. See, it is all the it is the arterial supply only, but it is forming a circle, and so it is called as circle of Willis. Now you can observe the same thing here also. Let us see first this diagram. Okay, fine. Now circle of Willis, it is an arterial circle that is situated at the base of the brain in the interpeduncular fossa. Okay. Now what is interpeduncular fossa? We will see through one diagram what is interpeduncular fossa. It is actually a rhomboid shaped area at the base of the brain. Let us see. Yes. In this diagram you will be able to see, right? You can see this area is called as the interpeduncular fossa. Okay, it is a rhomboid shaped area of the base of the brain that is limited in front by the optic chiasma, right, behind by the anterosuperior surface of the pons, anterolaterally by the converging optic tracts, these are the optic tracts, right, and posterolaterally by the diverging cerebral peduncles. Okay, so that is the definition of interpeduncular fossa. Now at the level of this interpeduncular fossa, a circle, arterial circle is located, that is called as the circle of Willis. Now here you can see the pons, and this is the area where the arterial circle is present. So it is formed by the anterior and the middle cerebral branches of the internal carotid and the posterior cerebral branches of the basilar artery, right. You know, this is the basilar artery, right, dividing into two posterior cerebral arteries, right, and just now we have seen the two branches of the internal carotid, right. This is the anterior cerebral and this is the middle cerebral. Okay, so this all branches together are forming the circle of Willis. Now how it is formed, let us see. These two arteries, anterior cerebral arteries, they are connected through one middle artery that is called as anterior communicating artery. The middle and the posterior cerebral arteries of the same side, right, you can see this is the posterior cerebral artery, you can see here, and this is the middle cerebral artery. They both are communicated here by the posterior communicating artery on both the sides. This side also there is a posterior communicating artery, right. So this is how a circle is formed like this, and this circle is called as a circle of Willis. The circulus arteriosus attempts to equalize the flow of the blood to different parts of the brain and provides a collateral circulation in the event of obstruction to one of its components, right. So it is providing a collateral circulation. There is hardly any mixing of the blood streams on the right and the left sides of the circulus arteriosus. Now the branches of the circle. The branches of the circulus arteriosus, they are cortical and central. Cortical means supplying the cortex, and in the central part. Cortical or the external branches run on the surface of the cerebrum and anastomose freely. And if these arteries get blocked, they give rise to small infarcts. And the central branches, they perforate the white matter to supply the thalamus, corpus striatum and internal capsule. This do not anastomose, and if they get blocked, they will give rise to larger infarcts. Okay, they will give rise to larger infarcts. Right, here again we can see this is exactly, you will be able to locate the circle that is present. Okay, now the central branches, right, cortical, they are going towards the cortex, right, and they anastomose freely with each other, but these are the central branches, right. Now again, the central branches, they are arranged in 6 groups, right. You can see here you have the enteromedial group, then you have the enterolateral group, similarly you have this posterolateral group, right, and you have here the posteromedial group. Okay, so there's 4 groups, right, but again in the 2 groups 2 arteries are present, so total 6. Okay, so it is said that central branches are arranged in 6 groups, right. Now we will see the groups one by one. Now the first is the enteromedial group, right. This is the enteromedial, you can see 1 and 2 arteries are shown here. Again in the enterolateral you will find 2, 1 and 2. Okay, now let us see one more diagram for this. Yes. Okay. Now in this diagram you can understand very well about all the groups and their arteries. Okay. First, enteromedial group. In this, the largest branch is the medial striate or the recurrent artery of the Hubner. Right. Here you can see the medial striate artery is shown. This is the medial striate artery. It supplies corpus striatum and internal capsule, which has the motor fibers for the face, tongue and shoulders. Second is the enterolateral group. These are again in the 2 groups. The largest branch is called as the lenticulostriate or the Charcot's artery. Right. Here you can see the lenticulostriate. Right. Means not only one, but this group of all arteries, these are called as the lenticulostriate arteries, or also called as the Charcot's artery of the cerebral hemorrhage, right, because cerebral hemorrhage here it is common in this area. Again the aneurysms of the lenticulostriate arteries is very common. Okay, and that leads to cerebral hemorrhage. So this lenticulostriate artery, it supplies the internal capsule which has the motor fibers for the one side of the body. Next is the posterolateral or thalamo-geniculate artery. Okay. Now in this diagram it is not shown. We will see one more diagram for that. Okay, in this diagram you will be able to find out, it is shown here, the thalamo-geniculate artery. This thalamo-geniculate, as the name suggests, it supplies the thalamus and the geniculate bodies, right, medial and lateral geniculate bodies, and the thalamus is supplied by this posterolateral group. And the last is the posteromedial group. This group of the arteries, it supplies thalamus and the hypothalamus. Okay, so that is all about the central branches of the circle of Willis. Now the last part is the clinical anatomy. Thrombosis of the lateral striate branches of the middle cerebral artery causes motor and sensory loss to the most of the opposite side of the body except lower limb. Okay, so lateral striate branch, right? We have already talked about this. Now of the middle cerebral, it will cause motor and sensory loss to most of the opposite side except lower limb, right? Next is hemiplegia. It is a common condition. It is an upper motor neuron type of the paralysis of one half of the body, including the face. Now you know about all the fibers, all the tracts, everything about the brain, right? So to correlate all this clinical anatomy is now very easy for you. It is usually due to internal capsule lesion, right? That is caused by the thrombosis of the one of the lenticulostriate branch of the middle cerebral artery. That is what we have talked just now about the Charcot's artery, right? It will cause hemiplegia. One of the lenticulostriate branches is the most frequently ruptured and it is known as the Charcot's artery of the cerebral hemorrhage. This lesion also produces hemiplegia with a deep coma and is ultimately fatal. Then thrombosis of the Huebner's recurrent branch, right? Huebner's means enteromedial group, right? Of the anterior cerebral artery, it causes contralateral upper monoplegia, right? Opposite side, only one upper limb is affected. Then occlusion proximal to the anterior communicating artery is normally well tolerated because of the cross flow, and the distal occlusion results in the weakness and cortical sensory loss in the contralateral lower limb with associated incontinence. Okay, now this you can very well see in one diagram that is already given in the book here. Here they have shown both effects of the occlusion of the anterior cerebral artery, right? Now occlusion that is proximal to the anterior communicating artery, right? That is normally well tolerated because there will be a cross flow from the opposite artery, right? But if it is distal, then you can see here there is no blood supply now, right? So because of this reason, it will lead to the contralateral sensory loss in the lower limb and associated incontinence. Next is the thrombosis of the paracentral artery or the terminal cortical branch of the anterior cerebral artery. It causes contralateral lower limb monoplegia. Okay. So now these things are well understood by you, right? Because you are already aware of all the functions of the different parts of the brain. Okay. Now next in this only we will learn about the arterial supply of different areas, right? You already now know about all these arteries. We will just see in this diagram. You will be able to see, right? Now we can see this is the cerebral hemispheres, right? Different parts of the cerebrum. Now arterial supply of the cerebral cortex. It is supplied by the branches of all the three cerebral arteries, right? That is anterior, middle and posterior cerebral arteries. All the three surfaces receive branches from all the three arteries. Middle cerebral is the main arterial supply on the superolateral surface. You can see this middle cerebral is the main supply for the superolateral surface. Anterior cerebral is the chief artery on the medial surface, right? On the medial surface you can see anterior cerebral is the chief artery and the posterior cerebral is the principal artery on the inferior surface, right? Similarly about the cerebellum, right? Here you can see about the cerebellum. It is supplied by, this little brain is supplied by the superior cerebellar, right? Then you can see the anterior inferior cerebellar and posterior inferior cerebellar, right? This is the main supply to the cerebellum. Okay, so that is about the chief blood supply of the different parts of the brain that we have seen. Okay, bye.